All right. So today at the School of Clinical Research, we decided to go into the community to ask the people if they know what is clinical research. So I have two guests here. I have Peter and Thomas, and we're going to talk about clinical research. Peter and Thomas, as they are my friends, and we're going to have a conversation about their knowledge of clinical research. So, Peter, tell me, do you know what is clinical research?
Clinical research, I have no idea what that is. If you wouldn't mind elaborating on that, what clinical research is.
Have you heard about clinical trials?
Today is the first time I'm hearing about it.
Thomas?
No idea at all. It's my first time to hear about it.
Oh, do you know about Panado?
Yes, we know about those ones.
You also know Grandpa.
Yes.
You also know COVID vaccines.
Yes,
Yeah,
although I didn't
heard
say-
of it, yeah.
Are you vaccinated?
No, I'm not.
Hey, you're not vaccinated. Okay, but anyway, let's go back to clinical trials. So, where do you think Panado comes from?
From labs?
From labs?
Yes.
How did they know? Okay, if you do you take Panado?
No, I'm going to take Grandpa.
Why do you take Grandpa?
It works fast.
For what?
Headaches.
How did they know it works?
The scientists behind the Grandpa.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know the scientists behind it.
Surely they went to school for it, so
Okay.
they
So you mentioned it comes from the lab. So you think they tested it in the labs?
have to test them, otherwise they'll have a lot of lives on their hands.
So okay, so the testing in the labs, what do they use when they're testing it?
That's why I don't know.
That's what you don't know.
That's why I don't know.
Do you know that it's possible that they tested it on humans after the lab?
I guess they have to test them in one way or the other.
Did you know before this conversation that
No.
there's a possibility it was tested in humans?
That's the first time I'm hearing about it.
And you, Thomas?
It's the first time to hear about it. I just heard a rumor that they test on animals,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I don't know what's the real story around it.
Let's go back to COVID vaccines. You know when COVID landed in the world, so there were no vaccines.
All right.
Do you think we needed the vaccines?
Personally, no, because I'm not vaccinated. Yeah, I am.
And you?
I agree with him. I agree with him. Because the vaccines, for me, I feel like there was an agenda behind it. So that's why I wasn't willing to take that risk.
Do you have children?
I don't have children.
Do you have
That's one of the
children?
reasons.
Yes, I have two.
Were your kids, do you have the Road to Health card?
Yes, for my kids, yes.
They go for vaccines.
One way, they were forced at school.
At school, so they didn't go through the whole page and taking vaccines?
No.
Okay, so I think that won't help us much. But I want you to bring this conversation. But I want to understand, okay, let's think about something else now. Do you know someone that has high blood pressure
I have a
Yes,
friend.
a lot. Yeah, actually, I know a few people.
and they're taking medication?
Yes.
How did they know that medication works?
It's just in their belief system.
I guess you have to trust the doctors. at the end of the
You
day.
you just trust the doctors.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, clinical research, I like the fact that you know the scientist, you know there's a lab. That is very important information. But in the lab, usually, they will test using laboratory systems. That is not, they're just going to look at it maybe on a microscope. You know microscope, you've seen a microscope. And then they're going to check what is the composition of that particular proposed drug or medicine. In an example, like for example, if it's a hypertension medicine, they're just gonna go through it and check, okay, what is in here? What is it that makes it work? You know, from that breakdown. Then from there, they want to check on animals. You talked about animals. Thomas mentioned animals. So in animals, there will be different levels of animal testing. They will start maybe with the mice, with the rats, and see how the rats behave when they are given that particular treatment. But according to regulations or according to the Department of Health's laws in all the different countries, it still needs to go through human testing. That's where clinical trials comes in. So before any drug can be in the market, it has to go through human trials. So let's go to the hypertension case. So your friend is taking hypertensive treatment. Before they could buy that hypertensive treatment, they needed to check, does it work? And what are the adverse events? Have you ever heard of adverse events?
No.
Side effects.
Oh, side effects, okay.
Yeah, side effects. So when you open that medication, even grandpa, there's a little package inside. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, we have.
They will tell you when you take grandpa, you must not sleep, you must not drink, you must not drive, you must not, you understand? You may feel drowsy, you may feel all this kind of things. But you are focusing on getting better. You want the headache to go. So what happens there is that during the testing time, that's when they look at it and say, okay, this drug for hypertension, what side effects does it bring when we give it to someone? Then they get to know, oh, these side effects are not as risky as managing hypertension. Then they look at, oh, if someone was to have hypertension for the longest time, what are the effects of hypertension in their body? Which means there will be a shortened life, there will be complications. People with hypertension, many end up having heart attacks, as an example, if it's not controlled. You understand? So giving them, working on clinical trials, we help improve the current treatment. I'll give you an example. I like giving an example of HIV and diabetes. I don't know if you know or you were there when HIV landed. Similar to COVID. There were no treatment. There was a time people were taking AZT. I don't know if you remember those kind of treatment. Some people developed breast. Have you had some side effects?
I've never heard of those.
You were not there. But what are some of the stuff that you heard about side effects of HIV treatment?
I've never heard of.
You never had. Some people when this started, they will take maybe 3 times a day as an example. Or maybe they needed to take even more pills. But currently, how many pills do HIV people take a day?
Is it one now?
One pill. So that is the advances in science. So that's what clinical trials brings. So we need people who, can be me or you, that volunteers to participate in clinical trials. That's why I'm having this conversation, just to help you understand the need of clinical trials. When I was young, there was a family member of mine who had diabetes. They used to inject themselves using a syringe. Do you know a syringe? Mm-hmm. So diabetes back then, they used to every day it was painful. But now you can use sort of a small pen with a fine needle, which is so comfortable. Even more, those that have money, they even use a patch, like the patch that people use when they want to prevent pregnancy. You can use a patch, which is like an insulin patch, which helps you regulate. So this conversation is to just help you understand what we do, trying to develop medicine and why it is important. And do you know why it is even more important? Because we are all patients. Do you know we're all patients?
Yeah.
We might not have hypertension like our friend. We might not have HIV, but you're taking grandpa, which means you're a patient. So every treatment that you have taken has to undergo this clinical research process.
All right, it makes sense now.
It makes sense. So would you participate in a clinical trial?
With that information, yes, I would.
Yeah.
Someone has to.
Someone has to do it, ne?
Exactly.
And Thomas, would you participate?
Yeah, definitely I will participate.
I've achieved my goal. Did I make it? Is it clearer to you? Would you explain to someone what is clinical trials?
Yeah, from listening to you, yes, can simply explain to someone. You have made it so plain and clear.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We hope to see you at one of our sites.
I'll be there.